Good morning, everyone. My name is Ardela Wirattama Putry. Me and Joylyn Khowira will be presenting on our study about exploring smart camera adoption in Indonesia, a technology acceptance model-based study on motion-activated security system in the Greater Jakarta area. So I'll be explaining the introduction on our study and also the methodology, and Joylyn Khowira will be explaining about the result, discussion, and also conclusion. So around the world, smart home security systems have become increasingly popular, especially the motion-activated security camera, for their ability to prevent a crime and allow remote control on our home environment. Their ability to notify you when someone is moving around suspiciously, and you can instantly check from their application. That that kind of features are very appealing in this modern lifestyle. But despite those benefits, many Indonesian households are still hesitant to adopt a smart security camera. It's mainly because of these factors like privacy concern. One of their major concern is actually the misuse of the footages. Uh, Even when their major purpose is actually for safety, but in some cases, the footage can be easily leaked or edited. Um, Especially if the technologies are storing those footage in iCloud. Like for example, the Logitech, they kept the recorded video uh, in iCloud rather than the local storage like micro SD or USB. Other factors is actually the affordability because of this camera is actually costly. It's very hard for the middle and low income household to afford it. And the other factors is actually when some Indonesian user they use their smart camera from Bardi, but like the lighting system from Google Home, and they have to like manage two application. It's reducing the perceived ease of use. Existing research has been conducted largely in the Western context, but very limited in Indonesia. This gap is very significant because of the diverse consumer behavior, affordability, and privacy concern in the developing region and developed markets. This study can help not only researchers but also the companies who wants to market their products in Indonesia, since people in Indonesia may care more about the safety and price than just convenience. The objective of this study is actually to apply technology acceptance model to identify which factors is mostly drive the adoption of motion activated security camera. Existing research about the smart home adoption has been conducted largely in the Western context, but when it comes to focusing in Indonesia, it's very limited. This gap is very significant because the consumer behavior, the privacy concern, the affordability may differ when it comes to developing region and developed markets. And this insight is not only helpful for researchers, but also to companies who wants to market their products to Indonesia, since Indonesian people may care more about safety and price than just convenience. So the technology acceptance model will explain how people decide whether to adopt a technology or not, based on two main factors. The first one is perceived usefulness. This refers to a belief when using a technology will improve your performance on life. So the more people see it as useful, the more they're likely to adopt it. And the second will be perceived ease of use. So this is a belief when you use a technology and it requires a little effort. So when it feels easy to use, people are more likely to see it as useful. According to technology acceptance model, these two main constructs shape behavioral intention, which then leads to an actual use. In this case of smart security system, adoption is often driven not only by technology sophistication, but also by practical benefits, such as crime prevention and greater control over the home environment. Based on this framework, our study proposed three hypotheses. The first one is perceived usefulness positively influence behavioral intention, which then leads to an actual use. The second one, perceived ease of use positively influence behavioral intention, which then leads to an actual use. And the third one is behavioral intention directly influence actual use. So let's move on to the methodology. This study used quantitative survey where all items were measured on 5-point Likert scale from strongly disagree to strongly agree. We measured four construct, that is perceived usefulness with three questions, perceived ease of use with three questions, behavioral intention with three questions, and actual use with two questions. And all of these questions were adapted from the validated technology acceptance model and then later refined by the other researchers, and then we translate them and localize them to fit Indonesian cultures and so that the participants could understand them clearly. And we distribute this with Google Forms through online. And here I attach the example of the Google form. We target the people of Jabodetabek. We applied the convenience sampling, which means the participants were selected based on their willingness and accessibility. Sorry. And in total, we collected 134 response, but after screening out the incomplete, inconsistent answer, we end up with 74 valid response for the analysis. Um, the respondents came from very background, like including students, professionals, entrepreneurs, and freelancers. For the analysis, we use Smart PLS SEM, which is good for small sample sizes. We also run bootstrapping with 5,000 samples, free samples, to check if our results are really significant.
For the results and discussion, here we tested the technology acceptance model. The results show that perceived usefulness had the strongest influence on behavioral intention. This means that the users were more motivated to adopt smart cameras if they believed the device could actually improve their security and daily life. The second one is perceived ease of use was also significant, but it had a smaller effect compared to usefulness. Ease of use matters, but mainly because it makes people feel more confident in using the system. Finally, behavioral intention strongly predict actual use in other words, even if people see technology as useful and easy to use, it only leads to adoption when they first form a strong intention to use it. Looking further into the findings, we see that perceived usefulness has a stronger impact than perceived ease of use. This shows that users in our study cared more about practical benefits like increased security and remote monitoring than just convenience. We also found that behavioral intention fully mediates the relationship between perceived usefulness and perceived ease of use to actual use. This means that positive perception alone are not enough. People will also only adopt the technology if those perceptions translate into a stronger intention first. When we look at the Indonesian context, some increasing patterns appear. Users place a very high value on functionality and brand trust. Local trust is especially important as many consumers feel more confident with familiar brand like Bardi compared to global ones. Ease of use still matters, but mostly because it helps people build confidence and feel capable of operating the system. We also noted adoption barriers such as cost sensitivity, delivery delays, and data privacy concern. These factors can prevent people from moving from intention to actual use. Finally, cultural context plays a strong role. Unlike in Western countries where concern about surveillance ethics often dominate, Indonesian users focus more on whether the product works reliably and comes from a trusted local brand. Now for the conclusion, um, To conclude our research confirmed the technology acceptance model in Indonesian context. Both perceived usefulness and ease of use are important, but usefulness plays a stronger role in shaping adoption intention. We also highlight that behavioral intention is the bridge between perception and actual use. Without a strong intention, positive perception will not translate into adoption. This means adoption is not only about technology performance, but also about trust, cultural fit, and the ability to overcome real world barriers such as cost and delivery issues. Now, for the recommendation, based on these insights, we propose several recommendations. The first one is developers should design localized interface, including full support for the Indonesian language, to ensure that users of all digital literacy levels can engage confidently. Second, privacy protection need to be strengthened and clearly communicated to users. People will feel more secure if they understand how their data is stored and protected. The third one is companies should invest in building brand trust by ensuring consistent quality, reliable delivery, and good customer service. Finally, affordability is a key. Offering cost-effective and accessible smart home solutions will allow wider segments of the population to benefit, not only wealthier households. By addressing these points, smart home technologies can grow faster in Indonesia while also meeting users' expectations for security, trust, and practically. That is all for our presentation. Thank you all for your attention.